Hello there. I'm glad you found your way here tonight. Take a slow breath and let the weight of the day loosen its grip. The world can wait. For now, there's only the quiet hum of the universe and the steady rhythm of your breath. Somewhere beyond your window, starlight is crossing billions of years just to reach you tiny messages from galaxies still forming in the dark. Tonight, we'll follow that ancient light, tracing how stars are born, how they gather into spiraling cities of fire, and how those cities weave the vast fabric of the cosmos. If this gentle journey brings you peace, you might leave a soft like or quietly subscribe, so the next time the stars call, you'll find your way back here again. But for now, you don't need to remember anything or keep track of time. Just listen, breathe, and let your thoughts drift outward until they meet the calm between the galaxies. The night has room for all of it, for science, for wonder, and for sleep. 13.8 billion years ago, everything that would ever exist was folded into something smaller than a whisper. There were no stars, no sky, no sound, just energy compressed beyond measure, trembling on the edge of becoming. Then, in a moment that had no witness, the universe began to stretch, not with the violence of an explosion, but with the gentleness of breath filling a newborn lung. Space itself unfolded everywhere, all at once, carrying time and matter within its widening fabric. It's difficult to imagine what beginning means when there was no before. Yet that first swelling gave rise to everything we now see and everything we never will. The expansion was swift, faster than light, faster than thought. There was no center, no boundary, only a rising tide of creation rolling out in silence. In those earliest moments, the universe was more like a glowing ocean than a place. Particles flickered in and out of being tiny bursts of energy called quarks and leptons, photons and gluons, blinking like restless fireflies in a storm. It was so hot that matter and light were almost the same thing. Gravity, faint but patient, was already at work, tugging ever so slightly on the newborn sea. As the cosmos expanded, it cooled, and the furious brightness began to calm. Out of the chaos, simplicity emerged. Protons and neutrons found each other and bound together, forming the first atomic hearts. Hydrogen and helium appeared small, quiet, and astonishingly stable. These two elements were the universe's first words, and everything that came after stars, planets, oceans, and breath would be written in their language. Time flowed. Though there was no sun to mark its passing, the universe continued to spread and cool until, about 380,000 years after its beginning, something miraculous occurred. The sea of charged particles settled. Electrons, once scattered and wild, were captured by atomic nuclei. For the first time, light could travel freely. Before this, light had been trapped, bouncing endlessly off particles, like a glow caged in fog. But now, the fog lifted. A soft radiance filled everything, a pale afterglow of creation that still hums faintly through space today. Astronomers call it the cosmic microwave background, the oldest light we can see, the quiet memory of when the universe first became transparent. If our eyes could see microwaves, the whole sky would shimmer faintly with that ancient warmth, like the dying embers of a fire that once lit all existence. Yet, despite the glow, the cosmos remained dark in another way. There were still no stars, no galaxies, no glimmers of structure, only drifting gas, mostly hydrogen and helium, thin and vast beyond imagining. The universe entered what we now call the cosmic dark ages. It was a time of silence and stillness, when the lights had not yet been kindled. Imagine floating through that darkness. There is no up or down, no sound but the slow hum of expansion. The gas spreads out like a cool mist, a cosmic fog stretching in every direction. Gravity works quietly here. No explosions, no flashes, just a patient pull, a faint gathering of matter toward itself. You would see almost nothing, but subtle ripples were already there. Tiny differences in density, fingerprints of ancient quantum fluctuations stretched wide by the universe's early growth. These delicate irregularities were enough. Gravity never forgets. Where matter was slightly denser, it began to attract more, deepening the wells that would one day become galaxies. Over millions of years, the smooth fog began to fold, to gather in invisible threads. The universe was weaving its first tapestry, a vast, three-dimensional web of filaments and knots, drawn together by the unseen force of gravity. This pattern, called the cosmic web, would become the scaffolding of all structure. Within its filaments, gas began to pool, slow currents flowing along invisible bridges of matter. The empty spaces in between grew emptier, vast cosmic voids where almost nothing would ever form. It was like watching dew condense on a spider's web, each droplet a seed of a galaxy yet to come. But this formation did not happen in isolation. Something unseen was guiding it, a mysterious companion that neither shone nor scattered light. We call it dark matter, though the name reveals more of our ignorance than our understanding. It does not glow, it does not reflect, and yet it outweighs everything we can see. Like a hidden frame beneath a painting, it gave shape to the visible universe. Dark matter gathered first, forming the invisible skeleton of the cosmos. Ordinary matter, the hydrogen and helium gas, drifted toward those unseen anchors, drawn by gravity's steady call. Without dark matter, the gas might have remained a diffuse haze forever, never collapsing into stars, never learning how to burn. For hundreds of millions of years, the universe remained a quiet sea of potential. The gas within the filaments cooled and thickened, forming vast clouds. Inside them, gravity tightened its grip until pressure and temperature began to climb again. Deep within those invisible clouds, the first stars were preparing to ignite the dawn after the long night. This transformation would take time. The earliest stars, when they finally appeared, would be enormous, bright, short-lived titans burning hot and fast. They would fuse hydrogen into heavier elements, seeding the cosmos with the materials for all that followed: carbon for life, oxygen for oceans, iron for the hearts of future worlds. But in this moment, before their birth, the universe still waited in darkness. If you could drift there now, suspended in that silence, you might feel a sense of calm rather than emptiness. Everything was still forming, quietly, invisibly. The first galaxies existed only as possibilities, folded inside clouds of gas. The stars slept within their cradles. The darkness was not absence, it was anticipation, a pause before illumination. And through it all, the universe kept expanding, stretching space between every particle, between every heartbeat of gravity. Each motion was subtle, each change patient. No explosions echoed here, only the slow exhale of creation settling into shape. We look back on that age through telescopes that capture ancient light, faint and red-shifted by time. In those patterns, astronomers read the earliest chapters of structure, how galaxies began to form, how the universe found its rhythm. Every glowing nebula, every spiral arm of stars we see today, traces its ancestry to those first ripples in darkness. The cosmos, once a blur of energy, had learned to organize itself, to breathe, to gather, to shine. And though billions of years have passed, that same rhythm still echoes in the night sky. Expansion, cooling, collapse, creation. A heartbeat too vast to hear, but always there, steady as your own. For now, imagine yourself floating at the edge of that transformation, the quiet before the first light. Around you stretches the vast, invisible web of gravity. The airless silence hums with possibility. Somewhere, deep in the cold and the dark, the first spark is forming, unseen but inevitable. The stars will come, the galaxies will bloom, and the universe, having taken its long, patient breath in, will finally exhale into brilliance. If you're still awake, resting there beneath the quiet sky, I admire your curiosity. You followed the universe through its earliest hush, through darkness and drifting clouds of hydrogen, and now, something within that stillness is about to change. You might wonder why it took so long for the first stars to appear. The truth is, building a star is not a quick affair. It takes patience on a cosmic scale. Hydrogen, the lightest of all elements, had to gather and fall into pockets of density so deep that gravity could begin its slow work. The universe, still cooling from its fiery birth, let this happen in silence. There was no rush, no sound, just the long, invisible drawing together of gas across the black. As gravity pulled, the gas thickened, folding inward like breath returning to the lungs. The temperature began to rise slowly at first, then faster as the atoms were pressed closer and closer until they could no longer remain themselves. At millions of degrees, their boundaries blurred, and fusion began. Nuclei collided, merged, and in that moment, the first spark since the dawn of time ignited. It was not a sudden flash, not a thunderclap in space, but a steady, growing light, soft as a candle in an endless night. And just like that, the universe was no longer dark. A single star had awakened. These first stars were unlike any that exist today. Born from pure hydrogen and helium, they carried no heavier elements, no carbon, no oxygen, no iron, nothing forged by previous generations, because there had been no generations before them. Astronomers call them population 3 stars, but names cannot capture their strangeness. They were immense, hundreds of times more massive than our sun, blazing hotter and brighter than anything that followed. They lived fast and died young, some lasting only a few million years before collapsing into black holes or ending their brief lives in violent supernovae. If you could drift nearby, not too near, for the heat would unmake you, you would see their light tearing softly through the fog of hydrogen that had veiled the universe for eons. One by one, these stars lit their surroundings, like lanterns in a forest that had never known dawn. The ancient mist began to thin, shadows retreated, the cosmos exhaled light for the first time. This awakening of illumination is called cosmic reionization, though the phrase hardly fits its beauty. Imagine the universe as a vast sea of cool hydrogen gas, and imagine the light from those first stars touching it, stirring it awake. Their ultraviolet glow began to free electrons from their atoms, turning the fog transparent once more. It was as though someone had opened the shutters of a long-closed room and let sunlight pour in. From this transformation came clarity. For the first time since the beginning, the cosmos could see itself. The darkness gave way to a soft, grainy shimmer, the light of countless newborn suns spreading across unimaginable distances. And yet, even now, structure was only beginning. The early stars did not form grand spirals or majestic clusters. They gathered in small, fragile groups, tiny villages of light bound loosely by gravity. We call them proto-galaxies, though they were more like sketches than full paintings, the universe's first attempts at design. Within these tender gatherings, the dance of creation continued. When the great stars reached the end of their short lives, they did not simply fade. They died spectacularly, scattering their ashes through the surrounding gas. In those luminous deaths, supernovae brighter than galaxies, the first heavy elements were born: carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, iron. With every detonation, the universe grew richer, more complex, more capable of life to come. Those enriched clouds cooled faster and collapsed more efficiently, forming new generations of stars. Population too. These were smaller, steadier, more enduring, and from their gathering, the first true galaxies began to take shape. Each birth built upon the remnants of another, like sedimentary layers of light. Gravity, patient as ever, sculpted these clusters into spinning disks, glowing hubs, and graceful arms. From chaos came symmetry. From dust came cities of stars. And so, the great cosmic cycle began. Gas drawn in by gravity, stars born in its depths, burning their fuel, then returning their enriched matter to space. Each generation seeded the next. Each light, no matter how brief, contributed to the tapestry. The cosmos had learned how to renew itself. If you could watch this unfold from afar, you would see not explosions, but ripples of brightness, waves of energy washing through the dark. The universe was blooming slowly, rhythmically, each petal a cluster of light. You might wonder how we know any of this when no human eye was there to see it. The truth lies in the faint patterns written across the heavens. Every ancient star, every glowing nebula, every distant galaxy carries traces of those early times, the fingerprints of creation itself. The ratios of elements, the color of starlight, the soft hiss of the cosmic microwave background, all whisper the same story. Astronomers read those whispers like archaeologists of light. They pieced together the universe's childhood from the clues it left behind. It's a little like studying a forest that burned long ago by tracing the charcoal in the soil, the patterns of new growth, the direction of the wind that once fanned the flames. And now, with telescopes that see farther than ever before, we are beginning to glimpse that ancient dawn directly. Instruments, like the James Webb Space Telescope, have started to capture faint red glows from galaxies that formed only a few 100 million years after the Big Bang. What we see in those images are not the finished masterpieces of the cosmos, but its earliest sketches, small, chaotic gatherings of stars, wrapped in halos of gas. They are the universe's baby photos, blurred by time, but still breathtaking. It's humbling to think that the light from those first stars has been traveling for nearly 14 billion years, crossing the frozen distances between galaxies, passing through clouds of dust, bending around invisible gravity wells, until, at last, it reaches us. It strikes the mirror of a telescope, becomes data, and then, somehow, becomes a story. And here you are, lying in the quiet dark, listening to the memory of those stars. Their light, born before Earth existed, has found its way to you through every collision, every silence, every beat of cosmic time. It is the same light that once dissolved the darkness, now softened by distance and retold as a lullaby. The universe's first stars were its storytellers, painting the blank canvas of space with radiance and rhythm. They burned themselves away so that something new could rise in their place. And in their ashes Galaxies gathered, planets would one day form, and the elements of life began to dream of breath. Even now, when you close your eyes, that light still exists woven into every atom around you, glowing faintly in your blood and bone. You are made of their memory. You are starlight that has learned to sleep, to breathe, to wonder. So let the thought settle softly in your mind. The first stars may be gone, but their warmth endures in the gold of your wedding ring, the oxygen in your lungs, the spark of your imagination. Their story did not end with them. It continues quietly through you. And somewhere, out there in the vastness, their light is still traveling, crossing the silence of space, on its way to wake another dreamer beneath another sky. The darkness that had blanketed the universe was lifting. The first stars had kindled their fires, scattering a soft glow across the endless night. It was not a blazing noon, but the fragile shimmer of dawn, pale, delicate, and new. Their light stretched through the fog of hydrogen, warming the silence that had lasted for hundreds of millions of years. The universe, once hushed and empty, now breathed in color. The long night was ending. But this light was scattered lonely embers adrift in a vast sea. There were no constellations yet, no spirals, no grand formations, only distant gatherings of brilliance suspended in the dark, too far apart to sense one another. And yet, gravity was already at work, tracing invisible lines between them. It tugged gently, persistently, weaving a quiet web of connection across the void. Wherever stars glowed, others began to drift closer, drawn by that unseen pull. Small clusters merged into larger swirls, bright islands of light, coalescing amid the dark waves of space. They were the first communities of stars, tiny gatherings that would one day become galaxies. If you could have watched it unfold, it would have looked like the universe was learning to draw sketching soft strokes of light across its blank canvas. It was not a tidy process. There were no plans, no architects, no symmetry at first. Gas clouds drifted and collided, their edges folding together like silk stirred by a current. Sometimes, whole clusters of stars collided, passing through one another without ever touching, their gravity twisting shapes into new forms. Streams of stars stretched like glowing ribbons, bending and curling through the darkness. The young universe was messy, restless, alive. And yet, within that seeming chaos, a slow order was forming. Gravity stitched the pieces together, small villages of light, becoming towns, towns merging into luminous cities. The gas between them thickened, collapsed, and gave birth to new stars. Every collision, every spiral of matter, seeded new brilliance. The early cosmos was both architect and artist, designing structure through motion, beauty through gravity. The galaxies that took shape in those first billion years were not the graceful spirals we know today. They were irregular, uneven, some warped and tangled, others soft and cloud-like. Many of them lived brief, turbulent lives, torn apart by encounters with their neighbors, then reborn through merger and renewal. Still, through this slow cosmic dance, patterns began to emerge. Some systems found balance in spin, flattening into broad, luminous disks. Others swelled into elliptical shapes, vast, rounded collections of older stars, glowing softly like embers at the heart of the dark. And some, even after eons, refused to settle at all, forever lopsided, fragmented, defying order. Astronomers call them irregular galaxies, and though they may look untamed, they are part of the same grand choreography. Each is a living archive of the universe's experimentation with form and motion. Behind this dance lay a still deeper pattern. The galaxies did not gather randomly. They were strung along filaments of dark matter, the invisible architecture of the cosmos. This vast network, called the cosmic web, stretched across space like lacework spun from shadow. Where its threads crossed, matter pooled, and galaxies bloomed in clusters, drawn to the densest intersections. Between those threads lay the voids vast, silent expanses almost devoid of light, cosmic deserts stretching for millions of light years. Through these filaments, galaxies drifted and interacted. When two approached, gravity began a slow waltz that could last hundreds of millions of years. From afar, it would have looked like a ballet in slow motion, two luminous shapes bending and curving around one another, their spiral arms tangled, their gas clouds colliding, though the stars themselves were too distant to collide. Their gravitational tides reshaped everything. Some of these encounters triggered bursts of creation. As clouds of gas were compressed, new stars ignited, lighting up their host galaxies with sudden waves of brilliance. Astronomers call these starbursts, but the word hardly captures their quiet grandeur. Imagine entire regions of space blooming with light, thousands of suns flaring into existence like blossoms unfolding after a long winter. From this gradual dance of merging and renewal, the universe began to organize itself. Spirals unfurled, ellipticals swelled, irregulars shimmered in playful asymmetry. Within each galaxy, gravity gathered clouds, stars, and dust into endless circulation. Old stars died, casting their ashes of carbon, oxygen, and iron back into the interstellar medium, while new stars formed from that enriched dust. Over billions of years, this cycle turned the simple chemistry of hydrogen and helium into the complexity of everything that followed: planets, oceans, atmospheres, and life itself. If you could step back far enough to watch it all, the universe would appear as a vast, glowing web, galaxies clustering like pearls along dark filaments, their light traveling outward across unimaginable distances, each one a forge of creation, a self-sustaining rhythm of birth and transformation. And as galaxies matured, they too began to form relationships. They gathered in families and neighborhoods, linked by gravity into groups and clusters. Some formed small, quiet communities, bound gently together. Others crowded into enormous superclusters, spanning hundreds of millions of light years, a cosmic metropolis of light and emptiness intertwined. Our own Milky Way was born within one such neighborhood, a modest association called the Local Group. Here, among companions like the Andromeda Galaxy and the Triangulum, it has been turning slowly for billions of years, its spiral arms breathing stars into existence, letting them fade and beginning again. When you look up at the night sky, the light that reaches your eyes is ancient. Every point you see is a story still traveling, written long before you were born. Many of those stars have burned and died. Some of their galaxies have merged or drifted apart. What you witness is history stretched thin across time, the afterglow of countless acts of creation. Galaxies are memory-made visible cosmic journals written in starlight. Within their spirals and clouds are the fingerprints of every star that ever lived. Each layer of dust, each new cluster, each chemical trace is a record of transformation, of matter learning to organize itself, of gravity sculpting chaos into grace. Over billions of years, the universe became not just bright, but intricate. From the first scattered embers came structure. From structure came beauty, and from beauty, connection. The stars had found homes, and through them, the cosmos had found meaning. Even now, galaxies continue to drift and merge, to lose and rediscover their forms. The great web still hums with quiet movement, each filament vibrating faintly with the pull of gravity. Somewhere, new stars are kindling. Elsewhere, old ones are sighing their last breaths. The rhythm never ends. It's humbling to remember that everything around you, every grain of dust, every drop of water, every spark of life, was once part of this story. Born in the heart of galaxies that flared, collided, and reformed long before Earth existed, the atoms within you carry the memory of those ancient lights. So, as you lie here beneath your own small patch of sky, remember, the galaxies above you are not distant strangers. They are your ancestors, their brilliance scattered through time and gathered again within you. The same gravity that drew the first stars together still binds you to them. The same light that lifted the fog of creation still travels, quietly, through your veins. The universe is not finished. It is still weaving, still expanding, still learning how to shine. And you, resting here, are part of that unfolding, a fragment of the same vast pattern, glowing softly in the dark. By the time the first gatherings of stars had learned to hold together, the universe had begun to favor patterns. Light no longer floated only as scattered islands. It collected, turned, and settled into forms that the eye can recognize even across millions of light years. Galaxies do not arrive in a single style. They learn their shapes the way coastlines do, through long weather, patient currents, and the memory of storms. Some extend delicate arms that sweep outward like ribbons caught in a slow breeze. Others rest as rounded glows, calm and full, as if motion itself had softened into quiet. And there are those that refuse any neat geometry, shimmering with irregular grace, half-finished sketches of light. If the universe is an archive, a galaxy's outline is its handwriting. Form is history, written in stars. Begin with the spirals, the ones posters love and orchestras accompany. A spiral galaxy is a lesson in balance. Give a young system enough gas and a sensible measure of spin, and it will settle into a disk the way a pond settles into stillness after the wind passes. In that wide, thin plain, clouds of hydrogen drift along near circular paths, and gravity's subtle rhythms travel as waves, pressure patterns that move through the disk like slow breaches in traffic. Where a wave passes, gas compresses, compression cools, dust gathers, and stars ignite. The luminous arcs we call arms are not rigid structures that carry the same stars forever. They are traveling patterns, glowing because starbirth prefers their gently crowded lanes. Stars enter and leave the arms as they orbit. The pattern persists, like a melody traced by different notes each time it's played. Spirals breathe youth. Their disks keep reservoirs of gas and dust, the raw material of new suns, so their arms sparkle with hot blue stars that live fast and bright. Near the center, a bulge of older stars glows in warmer tones, a hearth around which the disk rotates. Some spirals host a narrow bar of stars crossing the core, a stellar bridge that can shepherd gas inward and feed the growth of the central regions. Bars, rings, flocculent swirls, grand design arms, spirals, compose a small encyclopedia of subtypes, each a variation on the theme of rotation and gentle waves. But not every galaxy keeps this poise. Sometimes motion remembers too many directions at once. When two spirals of comparable size drift together along the filaments of the cosmic web, they do not collide like stones. Their stars are far too spread out for that. Instead, their gravities entangle. Tidal forces pull long streamers from their disks, delicate tails that arc like poured silk. Gas clouds slam into other gas clouds, and slow, the chaos compresses them, and star formation surges in sudden bursts. brief, bright seasons when clusters ignite by the thousands. In the aftermath of such an embrace, the ordered spin that made a disk can be scrambled. Stellar orbits lose their alignment, tilting and crossing, until the collection of stars swells into a rounded form. What remains is an elliptical galaxy, spheroidal, smooth, and largely content to glow rather than grow. Ellipticals are the elder statesmen of the sky. Many have spent their gas, used it in starbursts, or had it heated and stirred until it resists collapse. Without fuel, star birth slows. Their light takes on the amber of older populations. Their shapes are not the pinwheel's flourish, but the ember's steadiness. An elliptical can be nearly spherical or stretched, like a luminous rugby ball. The details depend on how many mergers it endured, from which angles, and how violently. Their stars move on orbits that crisscross, a quiet, randomized dance born of long histories of assembly. Between the confident symmetry of spirals and the settled calm of ellipticals lives a broad and happy disorder. Irregular galaxies are the sky's improvisations. Some are small and youthful, still gathering themselves, their shapes nudged by uneven star formation and winds from hot, newborn stars. Others have been tugged askew by the gravity of a nearby giant, or pried apart by tides after a close pass. They ripple with asymmetry, a bright knot here, a low, dusty veil there, arcs and splatters where clusters have lately formed. They may lack the elegance posters prefer, but they often brim with creation's energy, nurseries lighting up, pockets of gas cooling into shells and filaments, fresh stars sculpting their surroundings with radiation and wind. No boxes contain the sky for long. There are spirals with generous central bulges that lean toward the look of an elliptical, and ellipticals that wear faint rings or shells, fossils of encounters long past. Some disks host nested rings where resonances corral gas into bright cycles. Others show lopsided arms, one side heavier with starbirth than the other, testimony to a recent brush with a neighbor. Classification is our way of tidying a cathedral made by weather. It helps, but the stone prefers its own story. What chooses a galaxy's final style? Time, mostly. Gravity, certainly. Environment, always. A spiral grows where a steady trickle of cool gas can drift inward along filaments, feeding the disk without too many traumas. Modest mergers, a dwarf swallowed here, a small companion there, ruffle, but do not break the order. An elliptical often records the opposite past, major unions in which two disks surrendered their alignment, heating their stellar motions into a round, randomized cloud. Irregulars speak of extremes both ways, youthful incompleteness or the scars of recent tides. Even after a shape emerges, nothing is final. A spiral that falls into a busy cluster can be stripped of its gas by the cluster's thin, hot atmosphere, as if passing winds swept dew from a leaf. Without fuel, its arms fade. With enough time, its disk may age into the quiet light of an early type system. Conversely, renewed infall of cold gas can awaken a tired disk, lighting its lanes once more. Two small galaxies can merge to make a bigger spiral. Two large spirals can marry into an elliptical. The sky forgets nothing, but keeps everything moving. Look more widely, and the pattern deepens. Galaxies do not live alone. They travel in companies. The cosmic web links them into groups and clusters, dense nodes where the lace of dark matter crosses itself. In these hubs, encounters are common. Tidal tails loop like cursive, bridges of stars connect partners mid-dance, and halos of hot gas whisper of many small intruders long since dissolved. Along the filaments between hubs, streams of galaxies slide toward the intersections, as though carried by invisible rails. In the broad emptiness of the voids, a few isolated systems evolve, with fewer interruptions, keeping their disks untroubled and their cold gas intact. Geography shapes biography. Inside every galaxy, the same long cycle turns. Gas settles into clouds. Turbulence and gravity coax those clouds to collapse. Stars ignite, live, and end some gently, shedding shells that drift like luminous veils, some violently, blowing heavy elements outward in shocks that seed the next generation. Dust grows from those ashes. New clouds gather those grains and cool more quickly, ready to birth more stars. Across billions of years, a galaxy writes chapters by recombining its own past. The iron in a planet's core, the oxygen in a future ocean, the carbon in a sleeping mind, all begin as breath released by stars into the interstellar dark. Because form preserves memory, astronomers read shapes the way dendrochronologists read rings in wood. A crisp, thin disk, threaded with arms, suggests long seasons of calm accretion and mild disturbances. A swollen elliptical halo hints at ancient unions and emptied reservoirs, asymmetries and warps, shells and ripples, bars and rings. They are the grammar marks left by tides, inflows, feedback, and time. The sky's punctuation. Our windows onto this variety have grown clearer. With sharp-eyed observatories above the blur of the atmosphere, we have watched galaxies at many ages. Ragged, compact clumps, glowing red with distance and youth. Nearby grand design spirals whose arms could be traced for 100,000 light-years. Giants of soft light whose stars are so old their glow is almost memory alone. Deep surveys reveal collisions mid-gesture, one disk skewed through another, shock fronts lighting up, tails arcing far beyond the main bodies. In composite images, colors translate physics. Blues for newborns, gold for elders, pink for the hydrogen clouds where the next chorus will begin. And yet, photographs only hint at the deeper choreography. Measurements of motion show disks turning like vinyl, a rotation curve that maps mass both seen and unseen. Spectra reveal the chemistry of starlight and gas, the gradual enrichment of galaxies as generations live and die. Radio maps lay bare cold hydrogen, spreading beyond the bright parts. X-rays show hot halos cradling clusters of galaxies, a reminder that even between stars there is weather. Across all these views, a single theme repeats. Nothing stands still. Structure is a slow verb. If you step outside on a clear night and let your eyes adjust to the dark, the band of our own spiral arches across the sky, star fields and dust lanes braided together. A side-on look at a disk, much like the ones you've seen in pictures. We dwell in an arm of that disk, a quiet address on a turning street. Far beyond, another spiral turns, and another, and between them, in the distances our thoughts can barely hold, an elliptical smolders with the light of old stars. Somewhere nearer, a smaller companion tugs on a larger neighbor and raises a tide of starlight. Somewhere farther, a tiny, stubborn, irregular writes its own asymmetrical song. Think of each shape as a way of keeping time. Spirals keep the time of youth and replenishment. Gas flows, arms shimmer, clusters sparkle and fade. Ellipticals keep the time of age and harvest. Stars glow from orbits that cross like threads in felt. And change comes not from new birth, but from slow dynamical drift. Irregulars keep the time of becoming. Staccato bursts, pauses, crescendos, where tides press gas into sudden bloom. Together they compose the long music of the cosmos. themes that modulate, recur, and merge. So when an image of a galaxy finds you a pinwheel with blue embroidery, a round halo like a lantern seen through mist, a tangle of luminous knots, know that you are looking at the fossil and the forecast, the wound and the healing at once. You are seeing gravity, remember what happened, and declare what can still happen. Those arms are waves written in stars. That bulge is the settlement after storm. Those offsets and splashes are the imprint of a neighbor's passing. A galaxy doesn't just shine, it keeps a diary in light. And because you are made of what those diaries describe, because your atoms were minted in forges like these and carried, grain by grain, into places where planets could cool, you are also a record. The curve of a spiral and the curve of your breath belong to the same story. The patience that teaches a disk to form an arm is the patience that taught heavy elements to gather into oceans and hands. The universe writes its memory in many scripts. Among them are pinwheels and embers, asymmetries and rings. Among them, tonight, is you listening as the shapes of starlight turn slowly through the dark, learning what time and gravity can make. We've wandered through the far reaches of creation, watched galaxies bloom, collide, and drift apart like lanterns in an endless sea. But now, let's turn back toward home. Somewhere within that vast ocean of light lies a single spiral that shelters us, a quiet arm of a galaxy called the Milky Way. It's not the grandest or the oldest, but to us, it is everything. Every sunrise, every breath, every thought you've ever had belongs to this swirling city of stars. From our small vantage point within it, we cannot see the Milky Way as a whole. It would be like trying to read the label from inside the bottle. What we see instead is the inside of its great body, a luminous river arcing across the night sky. On moonless nights, far from the noise of cities, it stretches from horizon to horizon, a soft, shimmering band made of dust and starlight. When you gaze at it, you're looking along the galactic plane itself, peering through billions of suns that lie between us and the far edge of our home. The Milky Way is a spiral galaxy, broad, elegant, and ancient, about 100,000 light-years across. It holds perhaps 400 billion stars, though no one knows for certain. Counting them from within is like trying to measure a forest while standing beneath its tallest trees. Between the stars lie rivers of gas and clouds of dust, threads of matter where new stars are still forming. We live roughly 1/3 of the way from the center, in a gentle curve of the Orion Arm, far enough from the galactic core to be safe from its chaos, yet close enough to feel part of its slow heartbeat. At the heart of our galaxy lies something extraordinary, an unseen anchor called Sagittarius A*. It is a black hole, 4 million times the mass of our Sun, so compact that its gravity bends time and space around it. You cannot see it directly, but its presence shapes everything nearby. Stars close to the center race around it in dizzying orbits, moving like sparks caught in an invisible whirlpool. For years, astronomers have tracked their motion, tracing graceful ellipses through the dark, each one testifying to the colossal weight hidden there. Sagittarius A* is not greedy by cosmic standards. It is quiet, not devouring matter in violent flares, like some of its more temperamental cousins. Yet it holds the entire galaxy together, a silent conductor guiding the motion of billions of stars. Around that stillness, the Milky Way spins its arms, winding outward like the spiral of a seashell, its stars turning slowly in an ancient rhythm that began before the sun was born. But the Milky Way, like every galaxy, is a work in progress. Over billions of years, It has grown through countless unions and quiet collisions. Small galaxies have fallen toward it, their stars stretched and absorbed into the Milky Way's vast halo. If you could look at our galaxy from afar, you would see faint streams of light looping around its edges, remnants of those smaller systems still circling in long, ghostly orbits. Each one is a trace of an encounter that happened hundreds of millions of years ago, when gravity drew one luminous family into another. Even now, the process continues. The Sagittarius dwarf galaxy, a small companion, is slowly unraveling under the Milky Way's pull, its stars blending into our outer halo like ink swirling through water. And beyond that, another story is already unfolding. Far across the void, our nearest large neighbor, the Andromeda Galaxy, drifts steadily toward us. She is immense and graceful, larger than the Milky Way, and the two have been moving closer for billions of years. One day, roughly 4 billion years from now, they will meet. It won't be a violent crash, at least not in the human sense. Stars are so far apart that almost none will collide. Instead, their mutual gravity will draw their structures together, stretching their arms, twisting their cores, merging their halos in a slow, luminous dance. Over millions of years, their shapes will blur and fuse into a single, larger galaxy, perhaps rounder, quieter, a great glowing ellipse born from the union of two spirals. Astronomers already have a name for this future creation: Milkomeda, a new home for the descendants of our Sun, if, by then, any remain. It is astonishing to think that from inside our galaxy, tiny and transient as we are, we can know these things. We have mapped the spiral arms not by sight, but by the patient listening of radio telescopes and the faint glow of infrared light that pierces the dust. Each wavelength tells a different story, of gas swirling in the arms, of ancient stars orbiting in the bulge, of newborn clusters sparkling at the edges. Like archaeologists working from the inside, we have pieced together the Milky Way's structure from fragments of data, finding patterns invisible to the naked eye. Through these maps, we've learned that our Sun is a modest star among hundreds of billions, orbiting the galactic center once every 225 million years. That means, since the Sun formed about 4.6 billion years ago, it has made only 20 revolutions around the galaxy's core. The last time we were in this same position, the first dinosaurs had just begun to walk the Earth. Galactic time moves at a pace that turns ages into seconds, and seconds into forever. We measure it not in years, but in epochs, each orbit a chapter in a story too long for a single species to read. And yet, within this vast turning system, the ordinary carries wonder. Every atom in your body, every trace of carbon, calcium, iron, oxygen was forged in the hearts of stars that lived and died long before the Sun existed. Some of those stars belonged to other galaxies, later pulled into the Milky Way and folded into its fabric. You are, quite literally, a piece of this galaxy's history, a small, conscious fragment of its memory. The galaxy does not merely surround you, it flows through you. Your breath carries particles once held in distant suns. Your blood glows with iron born in long-vanished supernovae. You are the Milky Way, thinking about itself. If you could step outside and look back, if somehow you could hover far beyond the spiral's edge, you would see a vast disk of stars rotating in silence, threaded with lanes of dust and glowing with diffuse light. You would see a barred spiral with arms that sweep gracefully through the dark, a golden center where old stars gather like embers, and blue arcs at the edges, where young suns burn bright. Somewhere within those luminous coils, the sun would be invisible, a speck too faint to notice, yet around it circles a world where oceans mirror starlight, and living beings look up to wonder where they came from. The Milky Way is not a fixed sculpture, but a living, breathing system. Its stars orbit, age, and die. Its gas clouds collapse, forming new suns and planets. Its arms drift, stretch, and sometimes break apart, reforming over eons. The entire galaxy moves through space, carrying us with it, rotating around its center, orbiting within the local group, and gliding along the filaments of the cosmic web that bind the universe together. We are passengers on this vast vessel, sailing quietly through the dark, one among countless ships of light. And as immense as it is, the Milky Way too depends on forces deeper and older than itself. Beneath its beauty lies a hidden framework of dark matter, an invisible halo that holds the galaxy in its gravitational embrace. Without that unseen mass, its stars would scatter into space like dandelion seeds on the wind. And at its center, Sagittarius A Times keeps time, a dense, dark metronome guiding the galaxy's slow spin. Alongside these two unseen architects works the quiet persistence of gravity itself, pulling, shaping, balancing the cosmic dance. So, as you rest here, within this luminous home, remember that you are not separate from it. The same physics that binds the stars also holds your heartbeat. The same gravity that draws galaxies together keeps your feet on the ground. The light that crosses the sky tonight began its journey long before your species existed, yet it finds you here, in this small moment of awareness, and whispers the oldest truth the universe knows. You belong. You are made of this place, its dust, its breath, its light. And though the Milky Way will one day change, merge, and move on, its story continues through you. For in the end, the galaxy's true shape is not only written in the stars above, but in the quiet recognition, glowing behind your closed eyes as you drift into sleep, one small, shining consciousness within a spiral of 100 billion more. We'll begin with the quietest worker of them all. Gravity does not sing or blaze. It simply leans. From the first moments after the universe began to stretch, when everything was racing outward, gravity listened for the slightest unevenness, the faint wrinkles in the newborn sea of matter, and pressed gently where the surface sagged. Those soft dimples deepened. Gas drifted toward them. Dark matter flowed there too. In time, small gathers became larger ones, and the first structures learned how to hold. Gravity's patience is its strength. It is not loud, not quick, not even particularly forceful. Hold a tiny magnet above a paperclip, and you can watch the clip ignore an entire planet to follow that whisper of magnetism. Yet across the lightless distances, where there is no wind and almost no friction, gravity's persistence adds and adds again. It never cancels itself the way electric charges can. Mass invites mass. The invitation is never withdrawn. Given time enough, the faintest tug becomes a plan, and the plan becomes a place. Those early ripples, small differences in density spread wide by inflation, offered gravity a map. It followed the map without haste, amplifying what was a whisper into valleys deep enough to gather stars. But even gravity's steadiness exposed a mystery. When we measured the way galaxies turn, something did not tally. The outskirts should have drifted loose like sparks spun from a wheel. Instead, the outer stars kept pace with the inner ones, circling as if held by a broader hand than the light could show. So astronomers learned to see by absence. If the visible mass could not explain the motion, then there must be an invisible scaffold, a halo of matter that neither glows nor reflects, yet weighs heavily on space. We call it dark matter, though the name is more modest than the task it performs. Imagine each galaxy as a luminous jellyfish, swimming within a clear, encompassing sphere. The glow you admire is the creature. The unseen sphere is the reason its arms do not fly apart. By mass, this hidden substance outweighs the ordinary matter we know by roughly 5 to 1. For every bright star, for every cloud of gas we can trace, a larger, transparent architecture surrounds it, holding form where light alone would fail. We do not yet know what dark matter is. Some suspect unfamiliar particles. Others whisper of symmetries broken in ways we have not yet found, or dimensions tucked into the fabric of space like folded pages. None of that is necessary to feel its presence. As with wind on the ocean, we can read its touch by watching the waves. Rotation curves that stay flat far from a galaxy's center. Clusters whose galaxies move too quickly to be bound by light alone. Soft lenses of gravity bending distant beams everywhere. Fingerprints of a substance we cannot see, shaping everything we can. While gravity and dark matter lay the frame, there is another architect at the heart of the bright rooms: black holes, especially the giants. In the centers of most large galaxies, including our own, rests a compact weight, millions or billions of times the mass of a sun. Their reputation is theatrical devourers, horizons beyond return, but in the long story of a galaxy, they often play a subtler part. For many years, we thought these dark centers were passengers, formed as an afterthought by the same currents that shaped the bulge around them. Now, we read the evidence differently. The growth of a supermassive black hole and the growth of its host seem braided, as if the galaxy writes and the black hole edits, chapter by chapter, until their proportions rhyme. When a central black hole dines, the meal is not quiet. Gas and dust spiraling inward heat until they shine with ferocity, and some of the falling matter is redirected outward as light and wind, even as narrow jets of plasma spear through the surrounding medium. For a time, the core can outshine the entire galaxy, and that energy can push the raw material for new stars away, thinning the reservoirs that would have fed the next generation. Astronomers call this feedback, but the word is cooler than the effect. The darkest object becomes an instrument of regulation, dampening the chorus when it swells too loudly, allowing the system to breathe. In some galaxies, jets stretch for thousands of light years, drawing lines across the interstellar dark, carving cavities in hot gas, rearranging where and when stars may form. The editor's hand is firm, but without it, the story might run unruly to exhaustion. These three: gravity, dark matter, and black holes rarely announce themselves. Yet without them, the luminous structures we love could not exist in their present grace. Spirals would never have settled into disks. Arms would never have persisted as densities waved through them. Ellipticals would not have rounded into their ember-like calm. Irregulars would have blown apart before they could find a rhythm. The visible universe is a fresco painted atop scaffolding of the unseen, and the scaffold whole. Even with such quiet architects, nothing in the cosmos is fully still. A galaxy is a dancer in a hall of dancers, guided by threads of the cosmic web. Along those filaments, systems drift toward one another subtly, stubbornly, until proximity becomes a conversation, and conversation becomes embrace. From a human vantage, we speak of collisions, but the word suggests a violence of solid surfaces that is not there. Stars are so far apart that almost none will strike another as their host galaxies pass through. What collides are their fields and their clouds, their tides and their tempers. Orbits tilt and stretch. Long tails of starlight are drawn out like silk, poured from a bowl. Lanes of gas compress and chill until the darkness kindles. Entire districts burst into sudden starbirth, the galaxy's equivalent of spring arriving all at once. Picture two spirals approaching over hundreds of millions of years. First, their halos touch the invisible halos of dark matter, overlapping like two transparent spheres. Tides rise far beyond the bright disks. The first pass pulls out luminous bridges and halls. Clusters are scattered like bright seeds along the arcs. In the wakes, gas slows against gas. Turbulence fades into coherence. New suns flare into being. Perhaps the partners circle, meeting again with altered shapes, until at last their cores sink together, and the orbits of their stars forget their former alignment. What remains swells into a rounded glow, an elliptical forged from memory and motion. Elsewhere, two more modest partners might merge and preserve a disk, or a large galaxy could tease a smaller one into threads that loop around the larger's halo for eons, the sky's calligraphy, written in light. Through all of this, gravity's arithmetic never changes. Mass gathers mass. Momentum is rearranged but conserved. Energy hides in heat and motion, then reappears as starlight. Dark matter steers without touching. Black holes govern without shining. The choreography is slow, but the steps are precise. If you look again toward our own home, these architects are busy even there. The Milky Way's disk turns within a dark halo wide as the galaxy is across. Its thin and thick components tell of past stirrings, ancient meals, and gentle rains of stars from swallowed dwarfs. At the center, Sagittarius A Times sits with the restraint of a deep well, quiet most nights, speaking now and then in a flicker. Beyond the edges, faint streams trace the paths of companions that wandered too near and were unspooled into ribbons. And farther still, a great spiral approaches Andromeda, bound by an embrace we cannot feel, but can predict, destined to remake both families into a single, larger glow. The shapes will change, the laws will not. It helps, at times, to remember scale. The Sun orbits the Milky Way in a grand circle that takes about 225 million Earth years to complete. Since our star formed, it has drawn that circle only 20 times. When we speak of a galaxy's meeting as soon, we mean in billions of years. When we describe a starburst as brief, we mean a million summers of light. In such measures, the universe has the leisure to refine. What feels to us like a fixed photograph, a spiral fixed on a poster, an elliptical poised like a lantern in fog, is a momentary posture in a sequence too long for a single lifetime to notice. And yet, our lives do touch this vast accounting. The iron in your blood remembers supernovae. The calcium in bone remembers stars that shed their outer layers in gentle veils. The carbon that helps your cells keep time was minted in hot cores and carried outward in winds, folded into dust, recombined, and recombined again inside the arms of galaxies shaped by forces you cannot see. Each breath repays old light with a little heat. Each heartbeat answers gravity's call in miniature. The architects that bind the Milky Way bind you as well. So when an image finds you a barred spiral with blue embroidery, a round halo glowing gold, a tangle of bright knots, let it remind you of what the camera cannot show. Behind the grace, a dark lattice that keeps shape. Beneath the shine, a patient pull that never sleeps. At the heart, a silence so dense it can steer a city of stars. The universe's loveliness is never only what glows. It is also the scaffolding, the hush, the discipline that makes beauty possible. Out in the wide night, galaxies keep moving. They drift along filaments, gather in groups, surf the edges of clusters, and sometimes step too near to a partner's gravity and begin a slow wall. Arms intertwine, cores bow, great arcs of starlight unfurl, not with a bang, but with a ballet whose music is measured in ages. The spaces between stars are so large that even in these meetings, there is room for almost everything to pass. What changes is the geometry of belonging, the ways orbits lean, the places gas can cool, the neighborhoods where new suns are likely to arrive. Gravity, dark matter, black holes, three quiet artisans shaping all that follows. They do not glitter, and yet, without them, the glitter would not hold. They do not speak, and yet their sentences carry from the first page to the last. They do not rest, and because they do not rest, the universe keeps building arm by arm, shell by shell, ring by ring, until somewhere, a small world learns how to listen. And under a sky braided with the faint milk of our galactic disk, that world understands, however briefly, that the beauty above is only half the story. The other half is the invisible work that keeps the stars in their places and leaves the night intact enough to dream. Out among the stars, even in the most elaborate collisions, there is rarely any true impact. The space between suns is so immense that two galaxies can pass through one another, almost like ghosts through mist. Imagine it. Two vast fogs of starlight, gas, dust, and dark matter flowing together, their edges folding and weaving in slow motion. Each cloud of brilliance glides through the other, their stars slipping past unharmed. Yet while the stars may not touch, the galaxies themselves are changed forever. When their halos meet, gravity takes the lead. It tugs at their edges, stretching them into luminous ribbons that drift far into space, tidal tails, long arcs of stars flung outward like silk scarves caught in a slow breeze. They can stretch for hundreds of thousands of light years, marking the paths where two cosmic dancers brushed hands. Within these tidal streams, the stars remain bound by gravity's memory, tracing ghostly trails long after the encounter has passed. The clouds of gas between the stars, however, cannot glide so gracefully. When two galaxies draw close, their hydrogen seas collide head-on. The shock compresses them, heating the cold gas and kindling immense waves of creation. New stars flare into existence by the thousands, each one lighting up the darkness that gravity stirred. Astronomers call these starburst galaxies brief but brilliant chapters in a galaxy's life, when star birth quickens to a fever pitch. For a few 100 million years, the galaxies blaze with energy, their arms jeweled with clusters of young blue suns. Sometimes, when we look at the sky through our great telescopes, we catch galaxies mid-dance. The antennae galaxies, for instance, two spirals entwined in a slow embrace, show long, curving tendrils of starlight and radiant knots of fresh creation. In their collision, we see both destruction and renewal, the spirals tearing, yet also blooming. Their light tells us that the universe never stands still. It creates by unmaking, builds by blending. Eventually, the dance quiets. The galaxies, once distinct, settle into one. Spirals rarely survive such intimacy. Their delicate arms unravel, their ordered disks blur into glowing ellipses. The stars, once circling in graceful lanes, find their paths scattered into random orbits, forming the smooth, rounded light of an elliptical galaxy. The gas, much of it consumed or cast off during the starburst, no longer gathers easily and star formation slows. From chaos, calm. From motion, stillness. Many of the universe's largest and oldest galaxies were born this way, not from solitude, but from the patient union of others. They are mosaics, layered with the remnants of countless mergers, each one a quiet echo of gravity's choreography. This process continues even now. Our own Milky Way, serene as it seems, is part of the same cosmic dance. Around its edges, small satellite galaxies spiral inward, drawn by the same unseen pull that once gathered the first stars together. One of them, the Sagittarius dwarf galaxy, is already being unspooled its stars, pulled into thin arcs that loop through our halo like silver threads. Others will follow, their light absorbed, their histories folded into ours. The Milky Way is not devouring out of violence. It is simply growing, integrating, remembering. And far beyond, another encounter waits. A meeting written in gravity, long before the first human eyes looked upward. Across the void, the Andromeda Galaxy drifts toward us another spiral, vast and luminous, our twin in both structure and fate. It lies 2.5 million light-years away, yet every second it draws nearer by about 110 kilometers. On a cosmic scale, this is not a rush but a graceful approach, a waltz that will take 4 billion years to complete. When they finally meet, the Milky Way and Andromeda will weave around each other in slow spirals, their arms twisting, their cores bending, until at last they merge. If you could watch the sky then, over millions of years, you would see Andromeda grow brighter and broader, stretching across the heavens. Its stars will mingle with ours. The night will shimmer with unfamiliar constellations. The two great disks will tangle, then settle, likely forming a single, immense elliptical galaxy, one luminous heart born from two spirals. Astronomers have already given it a name, Milkomeda, a whimsical union of both. But what matters more than the name is the rhythm, the cosmic truth that creation so often follows collision. Even before this grand meeting, galaxies all around us are engaging in their own slow encounters. In dense clusters, where hundreds gather in a single region of space, they brush against one another constantly. Their shapes warp, their gas stirs, their paths alter. Galaxies are not static islands. They are living systems, shaped by relationships, molded by touch. Every close pass, every exchange of material, every whisper of gravity writes a new line in the universe's evolving story. These meetings are not only destructive, they are creative. Mergers can awaken galaxies long dormant, sparking waves of new star formation or feeding the sleeping black holes at their centers. They can fuse two tired systems into one vibrant new form, their combined light richer and more intricate than either alone. Like pruning a tree so it grows stronger, or mixing two colors into a deeper shade. The result is change, messy at first, but full of renewal. In this way, the cosmos reminds us that transformation is its native language. Stars are born, burn and die. Galaxies drift together, merge and bloom anew. The universe is not an archive of fixed wonders, it is a living story, each chapter rewriting the last. To watch the heavens is to see evolution on scales our minds can barely hold, a dance of structure and time, of loss and rebirth that has never once stopped moving. And as we gaze upward, it's easy to forget that what we see is not the present but the past. Light, no matter how fast, takes time to travel. Every star in the night sky is a messenger from another moment. The light that touches your eyes tonight left its source years, centuries, even eons ago. When you look at the moon, you see it as it was a second ago. The sun, 8 minutes in the past. The nearest stars you see are already years old to your gaze. Every photon is a memory. When we look into the universe, we are looking into time itself, seeing how things were, not how they are. The further we peer, the older the light becomes, until we glimpse the faint glow of the early cosmos, the after-image of creation itself. In this sense, astronomy is a kind of remembrance. We are historians of starlight, reading ancient letters written in photons. So, when you look up at the Milky Way stretching across a dark sky, remember this: the light that finds you tonight began its journey long before there was an Earth for it to fall upon. It has crossed the depths of space, passed through clouds, curved around stars, endured ages of motion, and now it lands softly on your eyes, becoming part of your thought. You, sitting beneath that sky, are both the receiver and the continuation of its story. Every galaxy, every collision, every flicker of light has led to this small, breathing moment, the universe beholding itself through you. In the vastness of time, the dance goes on. Stars drift and die, galaxies meet and merge, and new lights are born. But for now, all of it converges here, in the hush between your heartbeat and the next, where the distant past and the quiet present finally meet. And perhaps that is the most extraordinary truth of all, that even as the galaxies collide, the stars remain serene, and the light that began billions of years ago still finds its way home. Every night, when you look up at the sky, you are not seeing what is, you are seeing what was. Each glimmer above is an echo, a message from another moment, traveling across the dark to reach you only now. Even the nearest star to our sun, Alpha Centauri, shines with light that left its surface more than 4 years ago. That faint shimmer has crossed trillions of kilometers to find your eyes, a soft pulse of history folded into the present. If you sit outside and let your vision dark adapt, the sky becomes patient with you. The pupils open, the noise of daylight recedes, and the canvas deepens until pinpricks appear where there was only charcoal gray. You are not watching stars turn on. You are meeting light that has been on its way since before you thought to look. Each photon arrives alone, riding an emptiness so vast that it can cross whole oceans of night without touching anything at all. On rare occasions, a photon may be bent a little by a passing mass, its path curved by gravity in a slow, graceful detour, an invisible hand resting on its shoulder and guiding it onward. But mostly, for year after year, it flows untroubled, like a river that never meets a bank. And farther still, beyond our own galaxy, lies Andromeda, a misty bloom of light that began its journey over 2.5 million years ago. When that light first set out, there were no humans, no names, no eyes to see it. The Earth was young, its continents raw and unshaped, yet the photons kept moving, undeterred, carrying a record of their origin through the widening night. To see Andromeda is to witness a memory older than language itself, older than footsteps on sand, older than stories murmured beside fire. That faint almond in the sky is a letter that took all of human prehistory to arrive. We use a gentle unit for these distances. The light year, not a measure of time, but of length. The distance light lives through in a single year. It's an easy phrase to say, and a hard one to hold. In a minute, light could loop the Earth 7 times. In a year, it crosses the gap between stars. In a lifetime, it merely steps into the next room. And yet the sky is built from staircases of these years, stacked by the thousands, the millions, the billions, until even the arithmetic feels like poetry. But the universe holds deeper memories still. With the right instruments, we can peel back the layers of time, each one a little older, a little fainter, like turning pages made of light. The deeper we look, the farther back we go. Every telescope is a kind of time machine, not one that moves us through time, but one that lets time come to us. A lens, a mirror, a patient gaze, that is all a time machine truly needs when the universe is generous with photons. When astronomers launched the Hubble Space Telescope in 1990, they sent a silent observer beyond the blur of Earth's atmosphere, a glass eye orbiting in darkness. Down here, air is beautiful and busy good for lungs, not so kind to starlight. It trembles and glows and bends the view. Hubble slipped above that shimmer and began to see with astonishing clarity. Decades later, it still drifts there, collecting the past one photon at a time. One of its most astonishing moments came from a small act of patience. Scientists pointed it toward a patch of sky that appeared utterly empty. No bright stars, no obvious galaxies, just black. And they waited. For days, Hubble stared into that nothingness, recording the faintest traces of light. When the images returned, the void came alive. What had looked like blank space bloomed into thousands of galaxies, spirals, clusters, irregular shapes, glowing cores, a cosmic ocean hidden within a dot of sky, smaller than a grain of sand held at arm's length. Some of those galaxies were so far away that their light began its journey more than 13 billion years ago, almost to the dawn of time itself. That single image, the Hubble Deep Field, changed everything. It reminded us that emptiness is rarely empty, that the universe, even in its quietest corners, is overflowing with creation. Every dot in that picture contained billions of stars, each one a sun, each one possibly with worlds of its own. Later, Hubble looked again, and deeper, ultra-deep field, then each stream peeling back yet more layers of dim history. The light that painted those shapes had been traveling since before Earth was born. For eons it crossed the void, passing unseen worlds, sliding through the fabric of expanding space, sometimes detoured by gravity's lens, sometimes sifted by dust, until finally, after almost the entire history of the cosmos, it brushed a mirror no bigger than a doorway, orbiting a small blue planet. And then, the next messenger arrived. In 2021, we sent out a new listener, the James Webb Space Telescope, a great golden flower of mirrors unfolded far beyond the moon's orbit. Where Hubble saw invisible light, Webb listens in infrared, the warmth of ancient fire stretched thin by time. As the universe expands, the light from distant galaxies is stretched as well, its wavelengths lengthening like pulled silk. This is redshift, the color of the universe's deep breath. What began as blue and brilliant slides into longer, softer hues until only instruments tuned to warmth can hear it. That stretch of light carries the oldest whispers. What once shone as fierce young starlight now reaches us as a faint glow in infrared, a remnant song that only instruments like Webb can hear. With its NIRCam and MIRI instruments, Webb drinks in those whispers and lifts them into view. Already, it has shown us galaxies from just a few 100 million years after the Big Bang systems so young they should barely exist. And yet some already appear, complex, structured, alive with stars. It's as though we've discovered fully grown cities standing right after the first huts were raised. In those early streets, we see clues. A burst of star formation here, a dusty lane there, perhaps even the newborn outlines of spiral order. These findings ripple through our understanding, reshaping how we think galaxies formed and how swiftly the cosmos learned to shine. There's something beautifully human in that this act of looking backward so we might understand the present. With glass and gold and endless patience, we collect ancient light, translating it into meaning. Each telescope, each image, is another conversation between what was and what is. We piece together distances by listening to the brightness of standard candles, Cepheid variables beating like tiny metronomes, supernovae blooming and fading on schedules we have learned to read. We stack those ladders of light parallax for the close, pulsations for the middle distance, supernovae for the far, and make a map from echoes. But even our finest eyes can only see so far. Beyond a certain point, the light fades into silence. Before that silence, there was a veil, the universe's earliest fog, when matter was too hot, too dense for light to move freely. For the first 380,000 years after the Big Bang, the cosmos was opaque, its photons trapped in a blinding soup of charged particles. When it finally cooled, electrons settled into orbits around nuclei, and the fog lifted. Light escaped for the first time. That glow still surrounds us even now, a faint, ancient afterimage called the cosmic microwave background. It is the oldest light we can see, the first memory of the universe made visible. Tune a radio to the right frequencies, and you can touch that hush, the whole sky humming with the residue of first transparency. Look closely and you find its surface is not perfectly smooth. It is dimpled with tiny, warm and cool patches, imprints of the very ripple's gravity, later amplified into filaments and clusters. In those small differences, the universe sketched its future, where galaxies would gather, where voids would widen, where the great web would knot itself tight. Beyond that light lies a mystery we cannot yet touch, a time before transparency, a story still written in shadow. The universe remembers farther than we can reach, and yet, what we can see is extraordinary. Every image from Hubble, every spectrum from Webb, is a photograph, not of the present, but of the past, a frozen instant from when the universe was young. Those photons left their homes long before Earth had oceans, before there were minds to wonder at them. They touched stars, nebulae, and galaxies that may no longer even exist. Still, the light continued, unwavering, crossing the ages to arrive here, to land softly on the mirrors we've built, and finally delicately on your eyes. Sometimes we ask a simple question with a deep answer. Why isn't the night sky blazing bright in all directions if there are so many stars? Because light takes time, because dust sighs and scatters, because the universe expands and stretches the glow into gentler wavelengths, and because the present is not yet old enough for every beacon to reach us. The darkness is not failure. It is the interval between notes. That is the quiet magic of astronomy. Every act of looking is an act of remembering. You are not just observing the universe, you are listening to its memories. You are catching the light of things long gone and turning it once again into life and thought. Your retina is a shoreline. Photons break upon it like waves and leave behind shapes your mind can read. In that moment, the past becomes present, a small alchemy practiced in silence, repeated with each blink. If you watch long enough, you may notice other soft lights the eye can learn to love. A faint triangular glow along the horizon before dawn or after dusk, the zodiacal light, sunshine scattered by tiny dust, grains drifting in the plane of our solar system, a whisper of our own neighborhood's work. The green hush of an aurora, when particles from the sun find Earth's magnetic fields and make the sky breathe. Meteors that sand the darkness with quick silver scratches, remains of ancient comets crumbling in their long ellipses. These too are memories, closer to home but bound by the same rules. Light travels, light tells. So when you lift your gaze to the night, when the Milky Way spills across the dark like powdered frost, pause for a moment. The light you see began its journey before there were stories, before there were people to tell them. It has traveled unbroken for millions, sometimes billions of years, to reach this exact moment, to meet you, here, now. Somewhere in that river of stars, hydrogen is learning to burn. Somewhere else, an elder sun exhales shells of gas that will one day cool into dust, then snow into planets, then breathe as oceans. Then think, even the faintest star is a messenger from another era, its glow a record of endurance. The universe doesn't simply exist, it remembers. Its memories arrive as photons, each one carrying the weight of a moment that once was a flicker of fusion, a burst of birth, a whisper of collapse, all reaching across the vastness to say, I was here. When light passes near a massive cluster and bends, it writes its story twice, once in the long way it takes, and once in the arc it draws. When a supernova blooms and fades, it stamps the calendar of a distant galaxy with a date we can read. When a quasar kindles around a hungry black hole, its beacon tells us that even darkness can govern creation. And we, standing beneath that ancient light, are not outside the story. We are made of it. The atoms in our bodies were once the dust of stars that lived, burned, and died billions of years ago. The same stars whose light we now watch fading into the horizon. The calcium in your bones remembers the gentle winds of dying giants. The iron in your blood remembers explosions that outshone whole galaxies for a season. The oxygen you breathe remembers green worlds not yet born. To see the sky is to recognize yourself in the oldest reflections of the cosmos. Even now, as the galaxies drift and merge, as new suns ignite and old ones fall silent, the story continues. The universe is still writing, still expanding its library of light. There are chapters we know to seek. The epoch when the first stars relit the fog and reionized the gas. The quieting of giant ellipticals as their fuel thinned and their colors warmed. The long approach of Andromeda, measured heartbeat by heartbeat in kilometers per second. There are chapters we have only begun to suspect. The nature of dark matter's invisible scaffolding. The gentle pressure of dark energy urging distances to grow. The way small galaxies spark new birth when they barge through the disks of larger ones and leave wakes of glowing knots behind. And though we cannot see the beginning or the end, we hold one precious truth. Across impossible distances and unimaginable time, the light has never stopped trying to reach us. Our tools are getting kinder to those efforts. Giant surveys will soon sweep the whole sky every few nights, catching supernovae as they bloom and fade, tracing near-Earth asteroids as they slip by, mapping dark matter by the way it lenses light from galaxies beyond. Radio arrays are learning to hear the red murmur of hydrogen from the cosmic dawn when the first stars were only rumors in the gas. Each new instrument adds another ear to the chorus. So tonight, let the dark around you soften. Let your breathing slow. Think of a photon leaving a star in Andromeda before there were cities, crossing a clean, thin void, glancing past a small galaxy and bending a fraction of a degree. dodging a grain of dust, arriving at last at a mirror, a sensor, an eye. Think of Hubble opening its iris to an empty patch and finding an orchard. Think of Webb cooling itself to silence so it can hear the warmest, faintest syllables the early universe still speaks. Think of the cosmic microwave background light, older than any mountain, any sea humming gently through everything, even the space between your hands. Remember, you are bathed in light older than the earth, older than memory itself, a light that has crossed the entire history of the universe to find you. If you listen closely, you can almost hear the sky exhale as it lays that light upon you, like a blanket brought from another room. You are not just beneath the stars. You are within their story, and they are within you. Look gently upward. The stars are shining still, and their shining is not only brightness, it is remembrance, it is patience, it is the universe writing its diary, one photon at a time, across gulfs so wide they make words feel small until, for a few quiet minutes each night, those pages are yours to read. From the place where you're resting now, the night can seem like a flat sheet of stars. But if you ease your gaze, let it soften and widen, the sheet becomes a landscape, and the landscape reveals neighborhoods. Our galaxy does not wander alone. Around the Milky Way drift small companions, delicate swarms of starlight that trace long paths through our halo like fireflies following gentle currents. Astronomers call them dwarf galaxies, though the word dwarf hides how lovely they are, faint, fragile, and full of history. Some of these companions are easy to love at first sight. In the skies of the southern hemisphere, two luminous smudges hang like lanterns, the large and small Magellanic Clouds. They are not clouds at all, but little galaxies, each a cradling place for star birth, each tugged and teased by the Milky Way's gravity. Streams of gas arc between them and toward us, like ribbons drawn out by the slow wind of motion. Within those streams, stars are still being born. Others among our companions are shyer, the Draco dwarf, the Ursa Minor dwarf, and many more cling to the dark, like embers almost gone out, their stars sparse and old, their shapes sculpted by tides more than by their own will. They circle within our galaxy's unseen halo, an envelope of dark matter that reaches far beyond what the eye can trace, completing orbits that take billions of years. Step back a little, and our quiet cluster of companions turns out to be one part of a small town. We live in the local group, a collection of more than 50 galaxies bound together by shared gravity. Two spirals dominate this gathering: our own Milky Way and the Andromeda Galaxy, a grand neighbor gliding toward us across a gulf of space so vast that its light left before early humans invented stories. Between us and Andromeda lies Triangulum smaller, lively, sometimes tugged by both giants like a younger sibling drifting between older ones. All around, faint dwarfs orbit, collide, and dissolve, their stars strewn into ghostly arcs that loop around the two spirals like handwriting fading to silver. The local group is not crowded. There is room here for a galaxy to turn without bumping a shoulder, room for a dwarf to pass behind the curtain of our halo and reappear centuries later in a slightly new place. Even so, it is a community. The gravity of each member speaks to the others, and the conversation never ends. The Magellanic Clouds approach and recede. The Sagittarius dwarf is drawn out into long streams, adding its stars to our outskirts. Andromeda shines from afar, its disk tilted just enough that, under the right sky, you can glimpse it with your own eyes, a soft almond of light that is both neighbor and future. Take another breath and zoom farther still. Our little town sits along a road that leads to a bustling city. Beyond the local group sprawls a rich congregation called the Virgo cluster, a collection of hundreds, perhaps thousands of galaxies, drifting in a common gravitational basin. Here the distances shrink relative to the number of inhabitants. Here the skies are busy. Spirals whirl with their arms dusted bright. Ellipticals blaze like steady embers. Peculiar shapes abound, where past encounters have left scars and streamers. The space between galaxies is not empty either. Thin halos of hot gas millions of degrees, yet tenuous as a whispered breath, float between the members, recording the history of many small infalls, many swallowed dwarfs, many mild collisions stretched over hundreds of millions of years. In a place like Virgo, galaxies move through a medium that can strip their gas the way a fast wind plucks dew from a leaf. Spirals plunging into the cluster can lose the cold reservoirs that feed their star formation, their bright blue lanes fading over time into a warmer, quieter glow. Other systems meet and exchange tides, tugging one another into arcs and shells, writing love letters in starlight. Some galaxies merge and become rounder. Others drift through for now, bound to return on longer, looping orbits. The city center hums with mass, and mass draws more mass still. If the cluster is a city, then clusters themselves are built into continents. The Laniakea supercluster, our address in the grandest sense, extends for hundreds of millions of light years. It is not a single object like a galaxy. It is a flow pattern, a region of space where the gravity of many clusters, groups, and strands guides galaxies in similar directions, like rivers feeding a watershed. The number is hard to hold, on the order of 100,000 galaxies, each with billions of stars, all gently drifting in the same general basin. The Milky Way and the local group are one small stream in this continental drift, moving slowly under the influence of a deeper shape we are only beginning to chart. Step back again, and a final pattern appears. Galaxies are not sprinkled at random, as if thrown like salt across a table. They collect in filaments, sheets, and nodes, leaving between them vast voids, black lakes, tens of millions of light years across, where almost nothing glows. This pattern is the cosmic web, the skeleton of the universe. Its threads were first outlined by whispers in the early density quantum murmurs, amplified and stretched as space expanded and then pulled taut by dark matter's steady hand. Visible galaxies follow those hidden paths like dew on spider silk, gathering most thickly where many strands meet, thinning into sprays where the web stretches across emptiness, fading away altogether, in voids where gravity had too little to work with. The contrast is the point. Along filaments, light clusters into cities and supercities. In the voids, a single small galaxy might drift for eons with no neighbor near enough to see. Each environment writes a different biography. In clusters, the air is hot and thin, the encounters frequent. Spirals age into quiet shapes, and ellipticals reign. In the field, beyond the crowded nodes, cold gas can still settle into disks and keep starbirth alive for longer. The web is not merely a pattern, it is a history of what happened, where, and a forecast of what may still unfold. Yet the universe is not only a gallery of structures, it also keeps time, and the time it keeps is changing. The frantic, fiery youth of the cosmos, when star formation rates surged and galaxies built themselves quickly, has given way to a calmer middle age. Many of the largest galaxies, especially the giant ellipticals that sit near cluster cores, are now quieter. Their star-making factories have slowed or stalled. Their reservoirs of cold gas have been heated, stirred, or exhausted. Their light leans toward redder hues as young blue stars fade and elders prevail. Astronomers sometimes call them red and dead, a phrase sharper than the truth. They are not dead so much as resting. After a long season of creation, embers still warm, simply burning their fuel with patient steadiness rather than sudden flame. Even our own Milky Way breathes more slowly than it once did. It is not done, far from it. Along our arms, clouds collapse into clusters, and nurseries still glow in soft pinks, where hydrogen is excited by newborn stars. But the overall tempo is gentler than in epochs past. If the early universe was a thunderous orchestra, we live now in a movement of quieter strings, with bursts of brass when galaxies meet, and long, sustained notes where halos dominate the tune. And over everything beneath the web, within the clusters, between the dwarfs, a deeper tug of fate is at work. The universe is expanding not just steadily, but with increasing speed, driven by something we do not yet fully understand: dark energy. It is not a wind, exactly. It is more like a property of space itself, a tendency that makes the distances grow a little faster with every passing eon. Because of this, galaxies that are not bound to us by gravity drift away more quickly as time goes on. Far in the future, trillions of years from now, whole swaths of the cosmos may slip beyond our horizon. Their light, stretched thinner and thinner, will never reach us. The night will grow vast in a new way, not crowded and bright as it was in youth, but wide, cool, and solitary. That future is not a reason for sorrow. It is a reminder of scale. We inhabit a moment when much is still visible, when the ancient light of primordial galaxies can still touch a mirror and be recorded, when clusters still whisper to one another along filaments, when two nearby spirals, ours and Andromeda, can meet and make a new shape. We are lucky in our timing. The universe has not finished speaking, and our instruments are very good listeners. Even now, as you read these words, the sky continues to tell its stories. The Hubble Space Telescope remains in orbit, patient as ever, turning emptiness into oceans of light. The James Webb Space Telescope listens in infrared to the oldest songs, catching galaxies so young they seem impossible, and revealing structures in star-forming regions that make us rethink how suns like ours come to be. New observatories are taking shape, surveys that will map the sky night after night, catching supernovae as they bloom, tracing the slow dance of small companions, measuring the subtle lensing of dark matter's invisible hands. Radio arrays spread their arms across deserts and plateaus, listening for hydrogen's faint whisper from a time before the first star lit a flame. Each instrument is an ear pressed gently against the wall of time. As our tools sharpen, our place in the story clarifies. The local group is not a number or a list, it is our address. The Virgo cluster is not a catalogue, it is our nearest city. Laniakea is not an abstraction, it is the landscape we drift across. The cosmic web is not a diagram, it is the hidden scaffolding our memories climb as we look back into the past. And the voids, those silent lakes between threads, are not nothingness. They are the pauses between notes, the rests that make the music legible. There is tenderness in recognizing how much of the universe is community. From dwarf companions to groups, from groups to clusters, from clusters to superclusters, everything tends toward belonging. Even the lonely galaxies and voids carry the shape of a belonging once promised by the web. Gravity is the invitation, motion is the RSVP, light is the conversation that never ends. When two galaxies fall into one another's arms and emerge rounder and calmer, The event does not cancel their histories. It preserves them in a new grammar. Shells and streams around giant ellipticals are the sentences left behind by past encounters. Thin filaments of stars in our own halo are the cursive lines from swallowed dwarfs. The sky keeps its diaries in starlight. We have spoken often of the far future, of the quieting to come, and there is calm in that too. A galaxy that no longer forms many new stars can be a shelter for what has already been made. Worlds circling old suns, civilizations, perhaps that prefer stability to storm, and nearer in time, the Milky Way's meeting with Andromeda will not end our story. The stars are so far apart that our sun and its planets will most likely drift through the encounter unharmed, watching new constellations rise as neighbors move and new clusters unfurl. Over billions of years, the merged system, whatever we call it, will breathe out the heat of merging and settle into serenity. There is grace in a long exhale. For now, though, we live in the era of echoes. The night above you is full of messages that began before there were eyes to meet them. The faint glow of the Magellanic Clouds carries the signature of regions where stars are forming right now. The gentle smear of Andromeda is a postcard from a neighbor on the way. The broader background hums so weak you cannot feel it arrive from the universe's first transparency, a time when light escaped its cradle and began wandering forever. Each sparkle is a shard of time. Each galaxy is a chapter. Each cluster is a library where the books are bound in gravity. If you listen closely, if you let the rush of your day fall away, you can feel how this story has circumference and center both. The circumference is the web, the clusters, the superclusters, the architecture of distance. The center is smaller, a patch of ground beneath your feet, the rhythm in your chest, the thought rising and falling like a tide. You are not outside the narrative, looking in. You are made of the very handwriting that fills its pages. The calcium in your bones remembers the gentle winds of dying stars. The iron in your blood remembers explosions so bright they outshone galaxies. The oxygen you breathe was once light and will be light again. We have drifted a long way together. From the first tremble of space to the first atoms, from cooling fog to the freedom of light, from ripples to filaments, from filaments to galaxies, from lonely embers to spirals and bars and bulges, from starbirth to supernova, from mergers to memory. We have walked the streets of our own city of stars, paused at its dark heart, watched neighbors approach along the old roads, and climbed to the overlook where the whole valley of Laniakea spreads away. We have learned to read the sky's script and to accept that much of it is written in ink we cannot see. We have listened as ancient photons told us how the first structures rose, how the first lights pierced the fog, how the universe found its rhythm and then, as all living things do, began to slow. And now, just for a breath, we come home again, to the local group, to the arm of Orion, to a small planet that turns in the light of an ordinary star. Here the night is not a distant abstraction but a roof under which you sleep. When you look up, the Milky Way is not merely a photograph from a book. It is the inside of your own house, the beams and rafters visible where the dust meets starlight. The dwarfs that circle us are neighbors who come and go. The cluster beyond is the city where the roads lead. The supercluster is the continent on which our city sits. The web itself is the coastline, braided and beautiful. The universe will keep moving. Galaxies will keep meeting and parting. Some will quiet. Others will flare with new waves of stars. Dark energy will keep drawing the distant farther away. Telescopes yet unbuilt will open new windows and show us things we never knew to ask. But the essential comfort remains. We belong to this, and it belongs to us. We are not lost in it. We are of it. So let the last of the day's noise fall from you. Let the hush settle in your chest. Imagine the dwarfs threading their long orbits through our halo, the local group turning slowly in a deeper current, the Virgo cluster glimmering like a city on the far hill, the Laniakea continent stretching beyond sight, and the web itself, a lace of gravity, the pattern under everything. Imagine the voids as gentle lakes where even starlight pauses to rest. Imagine the future not as an ending, but as a long, slow breath, the galaxy's tide rolling in and out. And imagine yourself small, luminous, made of the same dust as all of it resting in the middle of the story. You are starlight remembering. You are a quiet place where the universe gathers itself and becomes aware. The night above is vast. The night within is vast as well. Between them, a bridge made of photons crosses ages to meet your eyes. This is where our drifting ends for now. We have followed the universe from seed to city, from silence to song, and back to a softer silence again. Outside, the stars continue their careful work, and inside, your breath keeps time with them. If sleep is a tide, you are already floating on it. The galaxies will keep watch. The faint light from far away will keep traveling toward you, and when you wake, the sky will still be there older by a few more heartbeats, yet somehow the same waiting to tell you the next part of the story. And now, as the galaxies fade to a gentle hum and the great weave of the universe stretches into silence, we've come to the quiet edge of our journey. The night is softer here, the air slower, as if space itself is pausing to breathe beside you. You've drifted across billions of years tonight, through clouds of dust and rivers of starlight, through the birth of galaxies and the long hush that followed. And now, at last, we're home again. Not a home marked by walls or doors, but by belonging. A home made of light and time and wonder. The same light that began its journey before there were words or worlds has crossed the cosmos to rest gently on your eyelids. Tell me, before you fall asleep, where in this wide world are you listening from tonight? What hour of your night is this? Somewhere, another traveler is listening too. Maybe across an ocean, maybe under a different constellation. You may never meet, yet you share this same quiet moment, the same starlight, the same breath. It's a comforting thought, isn't it? That curiosity itself can be a bridge between hearts scattered like galaxies, all glowing faintly with the same desire to understand. If these calm wanderings through the cosmos have brought you a little peace, a flicker of awe, or simply helped your thoughts grow lighter, I'm glad. You're welcome to drift with me again. There are still so many corners of the universe waiting to be explored together. Perhaps leave a small trace, a whisper of light, a gentle like, a quiet subscription so we can find each other again the next time the stars call. No rush, no noise, just another slow orbit around wonder. For now though, you don't need to think anymore. The universe is wide enough to hold every unanswered question until morning. Let the galaxies keep spinning in their patient rhythm. Let the light keep traveling, as it always has. You've done enough wandering for one night. Close your eyes and feel the hush deepen. Imagine the Milky Way flowing above you like a luminous river, the stars shimmering faintly in its current. Somewhere, Andromeda drifts closer by the width of a heartbeat, and smaller galaxies trace their ghostly loops around us. Even now, while you breathe, the cosmos continues its long dance, graceful, endless, unhurried, and in that vastness, you belong. You always have. The atoms in your body, the ones slowing and settling now with every exhale, were forged in the fires of ancient suns. The rhythm of your heartbeat echoes the quiet pulse of the universe itself. You are part of this endless story made of its dust, carried in its light. So let the night take you. Let the weight of the day fall away. As gravity once gathered the first stars from the dark, rest inside that stillness. The same stillness that once gave birth to everything. Good night, fellow traveler. Wherever you are on this spinning world beneath northern frost or southern waves, know that you are home among the stars. The galaxies will keep watch. The universe will hum softly on your behalf. And when you wake, it will all still be here, quiet, ancient, and beautifully alive, waiting to tell you another story.